is a presentation of Fox Sports.
We are the Fourth. We are Jordan.
It's a good time to be a fish in the Magic City. Miami's won 6 of 7, and Tom Kohler gets the start. And the Astros' Jared Cozart, hey, he's now a Marlin. So is Kike Hernandez. It's trade deadline time, and the Marlins have made a move. And the Reds have moved in for 4 games. Redlegs, Marlins, coming up. Marlins Park, a 4-gamer. That's right, a 4-gamer and identical records. The Cincinnati Reds and the hot Miami Marlins open up a series tonight. They'll stretch through the weekend. The Reds have been scuffling. They're just 2-10 since the All-Star break. But not the Marlins. Losers yesterday, but the Fish have won 6 of 7. Johnny Cueto, Tom Kohler. Hi, everybody. Rich Waltz along with Tommy Hutton. It's the Marlins and the Reds tonight. It's trading deadline day, and it passed at 4 o'clock. And when it passed at 4 o'clock, there was no word that the Marlins had made any deal. But then a few minutes later, news came out that the Marlins had. And a trade with the Houston Astros, the Marlins get an arm that they were looking for, and 2 players they just saw.
Yeah, Jared Cozart, the Marlins saw Cozart in Houston. It's a young arm. He will probably go into the rotation. Who knows, possibly tomorrow night. Kike Hernandez, we saw him in the outfield. He can also play the infield. Hate to lose a guy like Jake Marisnick. You've got to give up some talent when you receive some players. Marisnick could get an opportunity with the Astros. Colin Moran, I don't think he developed the way the Marlins thought he would in the minor leagues in the Florida State League this year.
Well, maybe he will. Now, we got a bird's eye look at Cozart, who just faced the Fish. The Marlins were able to beat him. He's only 24.
Yeah, I think that's the good part of it. He's 24. He's got some years left on his contract. That certainly is desirable. And in Hernandez, you have a guy who can play the middle infield, but we saw him in Houston play center field. So he's a very versatile player.
And you know what? He fits in the National League better than he did in the American League. And obviously, when they signed him, they were a National League team. So maybe it's nice that he comes back in to the National League. Chevron starters in this one. The Marlins are up against a Reds team that has a very talented rotation, and their best is going in this one. Johnny Cueto, look at the ERA. He's an all-star this year. Tom Kohler's pitched well at home lately.
Boy, I tell you what, Johnny Cueto, 3rd in the National League with that 2.08 ERA. He's had 13 starts this year, 7 or more innings. Tom Kohler, for me, has been durable. He's been dependable. He's coming off a win against the Astros.
We hope that we have been the same. Durable, dependable, and on time. And I think we are tonight. More on the trade when we get back as the Marlins get set to take on the Reds. getting ready. Marlins Park. Let's go out to center field. Craig Minervini, Jeff Conine.
Well, Rich, it really was a buzzer beater. One of the Marlins players affected that. You guys thought you'd be busy, and there was nothing. And then we had to tell them that, oh, just in. The Marlins making a trade today.
I think it beat my record, you know, that deadline deal of mine that was about a minute to go. I think this beat it by like 30 seconds.
Knocked you out of the book.
They did something at the very last minute to get this team better, and they're taking advantage of it right now because of the play as of late from the Marlins. 9 out of 11. They're close, and they acquired Jarred Cosart, Kike Hernandez from the Houston Astros for Jake Marisnick and Colin Moran. Two big pieces as of recent for the Marlins, but they decided it was worth the shot right now.
President of Baseball Operations, Mike Hill, on the late deal today.
I think as we approach the deadline, our goal was always to add a controllable starting pitcher, at least one starting pitcher to the mix to help this ball club. And we were fortunate to acquire Jarred Cosart. We were also able to acquire Kike Hernandez, the infielder, outfielder, and AAA outfielder Austin Waits in the deal.
And with Cosart coming, expected to pitch today, but of course scratch from the Astros, you would think he'd be pitching in the next few days. The Marlins will announce that after the game. They're both coming tonight. It is a boost for the players. Obviously, there's going to be a couple of changes to roster spots after this game, but it's an addition, not a subtraction.
It's an addition, not a subtraction. So you're showing this team right now that has played very well as of late. Hey, we're going for it. We're going to add some pieces to your team to make this push for the playoffs. And let's see, who knows what's going to happen, but I like the direction they're in.
That road starts tonight. 4 games against the Cincinnati Reds. The two teams sit even. 4 back in the wild card National League East standings. We got baseball coming up. We'll look for you in the post-game show. Reds and the Fish next.
A very entertaining and interesting 4-game series that opens here tonight. Reds and Marlins. Tom Kohler ready to go. Billy Hamilton's in the box. Lots of speed. The Reds, lots of pitching. Not a lot of offense. And, of course, the Marlins on a nice run right now. Pitch and Penny brings you the first pitch. And Kohler's fastball misses outside. And you don't want to walk Billy Hamilton.
Yeah, without question, one of the keys pitching against the Reds is to keep Billy Hamilton off the bases.
Force him to swing the bat. Etch got to hurry. He does. And Hamilton glides across first. the first out on a ground ball to short. Reds Line brought to you by JM Lexus. You've met Billy Hamilton, 41 stolen bases. Christopher Negron is at second base. Todd Frazier at third. Ryan Ludwig in the cleanup spot. Of course, no Votto, no Bruce, no Phillips. Brian Pena doing the catching. Chris HEISEY's in right. Jack Hanahan's at first. Zach Cozart at short. And Johnny Cueto will hit ninth. And here is Negron, who gets to start at second base. The injuries for the Reds are severe. Brandon Phillips, thumb surgery, mid to late August to return. Joey Votto for the second time on the DL with that strained quad. That one driven to left center. Yelich into the gap, and he's there, and he makes the catch.
I'll say one thing, the Reds coming off a homestand, they're going to find a big difference playing at Marlins Park than at Great American Ballpark. Let's check on the defense for the Marlins tonight. Brought to you by Ram. Here is Yelich and Ozuna and Stanton. Casey McGee and HECHAVARRIA, VALDESPIN and Garrett Jones. Jeff Mathis finds himself behind the plate tonight, handling Tom Kohler.
Todd Frazier stands in. Frazier really blossoming as a ball player, an all-star this year, the 28-year-old. Fastball starts his at-bat at the knees. Rutgers University. If you're a Marlins fan, you recognize him from the home run hitting contest in the All-Star game. Fouls off a pitch, and it's 0-2. And right now, Kohler looks sharp, throwing strikes and attacking the zone.
Quality strikes, command of that fastball, always a key, and that sets up his curveball and his slider.
Oh, 2 check swing. No swing. That's Andy Fletcher down at first. Mike Winters calling balls and strikes. Tom Woodring at second. Mark Wegner at third.
Yeah, he held it.
Jeff Mathis out to block it. Mathis getting the start. Working with Kohler. Jared Saltalamacchia a bit, I would say, sore that Mike Redmond wanted to give him a night off. And so Salty gets the night off tonight.
Certainly probably available to hit if needed.
And he's been swinging the bat well of late. That one's out, and they count full at 3-2. Ryan Ludwig is in the cleanup spot for the Reds. Etch on to first. Very clean inning. A 10-pitch inning for Tom Kohler. Now the Marlins have to wrestle with Johnny Cueto, one of the National League's best. It is brought to you by Toyota. Let's go places by AT&T Uverse TV. Find out what's possible with AT&T. 1-800-PICK-AT&T, mobilizing your world. By Checkers. Checkers brings big flavor for a small price. Feed your craving for quality for only $1. Cha-ching. And by your Southflorida Honda dealers at sfhondadealers.com. Marlins Park. Johnny Cueto. He of the 2.08 ERA. He of the dynamite circle change that has been handed down generations of Dominican pitchers. Mario Soto, kind of the godfather of that pitch. Johnny Cueto gets strike one.
Boy, impressive numbers as you look at the line of Cueto. Good command. Generally doesn't walk too many guys. Lefties and righties both hitting under 200 against him.
A bit of a Louis Tiant delivery with the turn and pause before delivering the pitch. Yelich behind the count 1-2. Jordany, Valdespin, Giancarlo Stanton up next. That is strike three called. Wow. Cueto dispatches with Yelich on 4 pitches. Miami's lineup, the Fish 53 and 54. JM Lexus brings it to you. You've seen Yelich. Here comes Valdespin. Giancarlo Stanton showing signs of life. The homer to the opposite field. In yesterday's game, Casey McGee's at third, Garrett Jones at first, Marcell Ozuna center field. Danny HECHAVARRIA at short, Jeff Mathis slotted 8th in front of Tom Kohler. And here is Valdespin.
The one guy in the Marlins lineup tonight that at least the left-handers, maybe even some of the right-handers, could have gone to is Garrett Jones. Garrett Jones with 39 career ABs against Cueto.
Cueto has been a nice piece in the Reds rotation for some time. This is his 7th year. It's actually the last year on a contract. And this right-hander, durable, 76 and 54 and 182 career starts and an ERA. See it right there, 3.33. Last year he did spend some time on the disabled list with a strained lat. When he came off the DL, he was really good. In fact, he started the wild card game in Pittsburgh, got knocked around early, and the Reds lost that game.
He actually had 3 different stints on the disabled list, so it was a tough year. Really the only year as a Red, since he's been a Red, that he's spent that much time on the DL. Boy, the ERA the last 4 years for Cueto, 2.92.
And you got to remember where he pitches half of his ball games, in a very hitter-friendly park in Cincinnati. He's 1-2 on Valdespin. He struck out Yelich looking. And he gets Valdespin looking as well.
Boy, he gets you thinking that changeup. Then he paints fastballs. He struck out Yelich with a fastball away and got that one on the inner part of the plate. We've talked a little bit about Johnny Cueto, 28-year-old right-hander. There's a scouting report. We'll get back to it. And we've seen the fastball. He uses that to set up that changeup. We mentioned the Tiant-like twist. Got a quick spin move to first base, too.
I think you need to add, he works quickly in and out of graphics. Oh, 1 pitch. Stanton drives it left field. Out of here. Wow.
He's fine. He's just fine.
And that one almost hit Cueto right in the noggin up on the scoreboard above the Reds bullpen. That was headed right at Cueto.
It's almost like yesterday when Giancarlo hit that pitch from Drew Storen. And a good pitch. He hit it to right center, hit it into the Marlins bullpen for a home run. It was almost like at that moment you said he's going to be just fine. Of all the things Stanton leads the National League in, he leads the National League now in 8 first-inning home runs. and they've all been hit here at Marlins Park.
There's McGee now. Well, in consecutive at-bats, Giancarlo Stanton has homered to each bullpen. Right?
Not showing any favorites at all.
No. Drew Storen in the 9th yesterday, he homered into Miami's bullpen. And this one, after it banged off the scoreboard, dropped right into the Reds bullpen. McGee tries one, right field line into the corner. That's a fair ball. And into the corner it goes. McGee's got himself a double. And that's got to feel good for McGee, who's been on a dry spell for the last week and a half.
Nice to see Hits McGee back on track's 22nd double of the year. Yeah, look back, Rich, over his last 10 games. We've talked about it. It's been a struggle. He takes care of a high fastball, by the way, from CUETO. And for Casey, last 10 games hitting well below 200 and popping up some pitches, but good to see that swing, and all of a sudden that tells you Casey's back on track.
A lot shorter, a lot more direct to the ball. And he's at second. Infield swings around for Garrett Jones, and as you pointed out, he and CUETO saw an awful lot of each other in the National League Central when Jones was a Pirate. A .282 average, 1 homer in 39 at-bats.
That's a pretty good sample size.
And a little looper out into shallow center, falls for a hit. Here comes McGee, here comes the throw, and it's there. Did he get in? Tagged out. Redmond may come out. But McGee is out on Jones' bloop hit. The Marlins will probably look at it and decide if they want to start the replay sequence. Nope. Stanton drills one to left, and the Marlins lose one at the plate. It's 1-0.
Es presentado en español vía SAP por Kendall y West Kendall Toyota.
That is what it's all about. You see that smile? Is that youngster? He's got his uniform on.
Having a good time.
He's got his glove.
Got the glove.
And his smile from ear to ear. There he is.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Yeah, let's go. Marlins got to run.
Ryan Ludwig leads it off. And he sends one in the air to left center. OZUNA tracking it and makes the catch. Garrett Jones knocked one into center. Casey McGee thrown out by Billy Hamilton.
You know, with 2 outs, Casey broke all right. He got a decent jump. And you have to give credit to the center fielder, Billy Hamilton. He got a great jump and got to this ball quickly to play it on one hop, and then came up and made an absolutely perfect throw to the plate. There's the one hop. There's the perfect one hop throw. And Brian Pena has it in plenty of time.
And once he has the ball, he can come to the front of the plate.
Do whatever he wants.
Out to center. And Ozuna's there, and he makes the catch. Kohler working quickly. 2 outs here in the second. When I say Beer Fest, hopefully get your attention. Marlins have a Beer Fest this Saturday, and a variety of brews will showcase in the Clevelander. You can stay and watch the Marlins take on the Reds. It's from 4 to 7 this Saturday. You have to be 21 or older, kids. Tickets start at just $30, and you'll dance like that after you taste all the beer. Marlins.com/special events. You've got to purchase those tickets in advance. Marlins.com/special events. You know, watching that replay with the Jones hit in plate to plate, one thing that worked in the Reds' favor is the shift against Jones brought a guy right behind the bag at second, and Casey's secondary lead, he didn't have a real big lead with good reason. That's a 5-pitch inning, Tom Kohler. Reds. The top 10 finalists for the next Fox Sports Florida Girl have been announced. Log on to foxsportsflorida.com/girls to check out the profiles, and then vote through August 6th for whom you think should join Annalie and Jordana as the next Fox Sports Florida Girl.
Rich, is the crack staff involved in that selection process?
Oh, for goodness sake, no. With good reason. That would you want to keep the ballot boxes legit, Tom. You don't want the crack staff anywhere near it.
Okay.
Marcell Ozuna, ADEINY HECHAVARRIA, and Jeff Mathis against Johnny Cueto in the second.
The Marlins had some really good swings in the first inning against Cueto, all coming on his fastball. They were jumping on his fastball.
Cueto was brilliant his last time out. Beat Washington 1-0. Ozuna takes a strike.
Cueto's had one other start here at Marlins Park and did not fare well.
Lead-off walk here in the second.
A couple of years ago, 2012, he went 4 1/3 innings, gave up 9 hits and 6 runs.
Reds pitch well, and they defend well. They can play catch with the best of them.
Well, we'll check in on that Reds defense. Ryan Ludwig, Billy Hamilton's already made a nice play. Chris HEISEY plays a good outfield, all 3 positions he can patrol out there. Todd Frazier, Zach Cozart, Christopher Negron, and at first base, Jack Hanahan, just off the disabled list. Brian Pena, who's catching. Because of Votto's injury, they've kind of mixed and matched at first base. he's actually played 20, 21 games at first base.
And the Reds have made the fewest amount of errors of anybody in the National League, 51 on the season. Cueto misses away, and it's a ball and a strike. HECHAVARRIA. You see his career numbers against the Reds. HECHAVARRIA had a really nice series, and you know, the Marlins have done such a terrific job in the 7th, 8th, and 9th inning of games. In fact, their run differential is plus 42 in those innings. Etch up the middle. Nice backhand flip, but no double play. As Cozart got it to Negron, his relay not in time. And HECHAVARRIA has been in the middle of a lot of those 7th, 8th, and 9th inning rallies as he was last night.
Rich, to your point, as you watch this really nice play by the shortstop, Zach Cozart, really wasn't a double play. They didn't have a chance, but they get the out on a beautiful flip. But in that series against the Nationals, in the 7th, 8th, and 9th innings, the Marlins had 15 hits and scored 11 runs.
Here's Jeff Mathis with the runner at first. That's HECHAVARRIA. The Marlins are plus 42. That's second best in Major League Baseball from the 7th through the 9th inning on the season. Mathis in the lineup. That one escaped Brian Pena, and HECHAVARRIA scampers down to second.
Yeah, you wonder if it escaped him or if he escaped it. It's a pass ball. That pitch was a good pitch, and then he couldn't find it. So alertly, HECHAVARRIA saw that and took off.
He's in scoring position, and Mathis gets a 2-0 pitch. It's a breaking ball, and he hits it high in the air to right and deep. HEISEY's back. HECHAVARRIA tags. HEISEY makes the catch, and Etch will get himself down to third. Tom Kohler, the pitcher, though, is coming up. For the Reds, a season of change. Brian Price, longtime pitching coach in a lot of places with a lot of success. It's his first bite at the managing apple, so to speak. 52-year-old, 4 years as Dusty Baker's pitching coach with the Reds, 4 years as Bob Melvin's pitching coach in Arizona, 6 years in Seattle with Lou Piniella and Bob Melvin.
Always one of the highly respected pitching coaches in whatever league he's in, and getting an opportunity to manage, but it's hard to judge what he's done because of all the injuries to the Reds.
No Votto, no Phillips. Last night and tonight, no Jay Bruce. Hey! 0-2 to Kohler. Pitch is up. The pitching rotation for the series may be altered tomorrow night. Jared Cozart was on turn to pitch for the Astros. In fact, when the Marlins faced the Astros, Cozart faced Kohler. So there's a possibility that the Marlins' new pitcher might be on the hill tomorrow.
And it'll also be a decision. We'll get an opportunity to talk to Marlins president of baseball operations, Mike Hill, later in the game. And we'll ask him about Kike Hernandez and his status. And so then the Marlins may have to make a couple of moves.
Johnny Cueto strikes out Tom Kohler. 2 in the books, 1-0. Fish. First Marlin game for that Yankee fan, and that Yankee fan was probably watching his phone all day to see what trades were made. The first domino to fall, and this was a stunner. Everyone knew John Lester was going to be traded. I don't think anyone had an inkling Yoenis Cespedes would be the bounty that would come back to the Red Sox. Johnny Gomes went with Lester back to his old home by the Bay.
Yeah, so the Athletics actually for a while, thinking about their rotation with Lester a part of it, were feeling pretty good until they realized that David Price went to the Tigers.
And I guess that's a question that has to be asked. Do you think the Tigers made this deal in response to Oakland making the Lester deal because the two teams have met in the postseason last 2 years?
Absolutely, and I think they're probably going to meet again. Austin Jackson, a terrific center fielder. I think that's a good move for Seattle to be a part of their ball club. And you know what? Drew Smyly, left-handed pitcher. He goes to Tampa.
Well, Nick
Franklin's the key on that one.
Yeah, that's a big piece for the Rays. And Seattle needed outfield help. They had a surplus of infielders, and so they get Austin Jackson. And Tom Kohler gets Jack Hanahan. He takes a strike. Hanahan, Zach Cozart. No relation, by the way, to Jerry Cozart.
Hanahan has been on the disabled list all year. Played some games in the minor leagues. This is his first start, but had right shoulder surgery.
That's a heck of a play. Oh, 0-2.
Well, you have to love the way Tom Kohler is just aggressively going after the Reds hitters.
Kohler's ERA just under 4, 7-7. He picked up that 7th win in the start in Houston. Wow, he snaps it right off and gets a strikeout. He didn't have his best stuff in Houston, but it looks like tonight he does.
You know, the game in Houston, 5 innings, gave up 9 hits and the 3 runs. The fact that he gave up 9 hits and only 3 runs, he really had to work. And sometimes a pitcher can take a lot away from a game like that.
Now Red shortstop Zach Cozart. The Reds' Cozart is from Collierville, Tennessee. Went to Ole Miss. HECHAVARRIA has had a busy night already. Two outs. Here comes CUETO, and here comes the AT&T fan photo shout out, and it means tweet that photo you're taking right there. Hashtag it. Hashtag it FL fan photo, and it could be the AT&T fan photo. We'll have that fan photo later in the ball game. CUETO is up. Kohler pierces the strike zone with a fastball. It's 0-1.
In case you're wondering about the Marlins, Cozart, Jared Cozart, went to Clear Creek High School in Texas, not too far outside of Houston. Was a big Astros fan growing up.
Clear Creek High School also produced a pretty good outfielder in the day. Just ask George Costanza's boss, Jay Buhner. What were the words that he uttered? Ken Phelps, Ken Phelps, Ken Phelps. Up the middle, dive, Valdespin rolls over, and he'll hold on. CUETO legs out an infield hit.
So the first hit for the Reds comes from their pitcher. It's a play. I think if Valdespin is able to get it cleanly, he might have a shot, but the ball kind of just rolls under his chest and stomach, and by the time he found it, it was too late.
Now Billy Hamilton, and you addressed it right away when the game started. For Miami in this 4-game set, they can't go to sleep on Billy Hamilton. That means throw him strikes, make him earn it. People have been waiting for Billy Hamilton to get to the big leagues because of all the numbers that he put up as a minor leaguer. In the minors, in 502 games, he stole 395 bases. And he swiped 41 this year. He's been caught, though, 16 times. Chopper, Valdespin on to first, and Kohler's gone right after him twice. Good time out there. Let's check in with Craig Minervini. Craig.
Hey, real good time, Rich, and the ball game starts, speaking of time, at 7 o'clock, but 4.5 hours before. A lot of work goes on here at the ballpark. Sometimes some specialty things, like today. Third base coach Brett Butler was out here. Watched him for about 40 minutes work with JORDANY Valdespin, along with ADEINY HECHAVARRIA and Donovan Solano on bunting. And in particular, they were working on bunting for base hits. Some to the first base side, some to the third base side. Butler would call out hit or not a hit. Actually, Brett went in first and bunted for a while, like he used to do, or he said he used to spend probably a while at line right at the shortstop, hitting 300 bunts almost on a daily basis. First base, maybe 200 to third, and switch it the next day. And he said a couple of tips he passed on to JORDANY Valdespin is Rod Carew told him a long time ago, watch the ball hit the ground. Some guys get that running start and they don't make the proper contact. Pull the bat back, take a little off it, watch it hit the ground, and then take off. He said, yeah, guys know you're bunting, but Rod Carew told Brett Butler something a long time ago. He said, only you know when you're going to bunt. So you can use that element and some proper technique they worked on, maybe even in tonight's game. We'll see.
Well, we've seen HECHAVARRIA. We've seen Christian Yelich. Jake Marisnick was here. He was into it. That made a big difference for a lot of guys.
The only other guy that probably worked on his bunting the same, if not more, than Brett Butler was Juan Pierre. Used to see him out with a bucket of balls every day.
Suave. The command from Brian Pena behind the plate.
Easy, easy. Suave.
And Valdespin is out. Here is Giancarlo Stanton. If you're just joining us, Miami has a 1-0 lead. And I suspect a lot of people around the country, when they see a score from a Marlins game and it's 1-0, the first thing they think is that Giancarlo Stanton hit a solo homer.
Especially since he's hit 8 in the first inning, all at Marlins Park.
And they would be right. A line drive homer to the left. And as a result, Cueto bends one outside.
For Stanton, career home run number 142.
Another Suave out there. And an underhand toss from Cueto. Fish on top of the Reds. This series continues tomorrow night, and it's a fireworks Friday. Happy hour starts at the Budweiser Bowtie Bar on all Friday home games at 5:30, and it lasts till 6:30. After the game, an incredible fireworks display. So go to Marlins.com for tickets. Rich Walsh on with Tommy Hutton, and Marlins President of Baseball Operations Michael Hill joins us now. And for you, certainly not only a busy day, but a busy week leading into what was a last-minute deal. When did the deal come together? Because the deadline passed, and there was no news out of Marlin land, and there were a lot of fans that were, but it trickled out just after that.
Yeah, I think we hit the button with maybe a minute or so left to make it official, but a long week, I would say. Our staff, our entire baseball operations staff, is here in town and just looking for ways to upgrade our roster, and I think we were successful in what we're able to do today.
You know, it came down to the wire. What officially has to be signed or done to make it just that official?
Yeah, you have to agree on the players and approve the medical, and that's really what takes the longest, to make sure you have to get through everything from a medical standpoint. And that was what took the time, and pushed up until the deadline.
What has to go? What has to go by 4 o'clock? Just agree on the players?
No, it has to be official.
Wow,
it has to be everything. All the conditions of the transaction have to be approved, and everything has to be signed off on by 4 o'clock.
Quick scouting reports, Michael, on Cozart and Kike Hernandez.
I think the people of South Florida are going to like both. Jared Cozart is a power right-handed pitcher. Fits exactly with who we are, and it was very helpful that we just saw him over the weekend. I think as we went through the process of identifying controllable young starters, he was one that we definitely had our eye on, and we're very fortunate we were able to face him over the weekend in Houston. And in Kike Hernandez, he actually played in that game also. A very versatile piece, and something for a National League club is very valuable, because you can play him everywhere in the infield and everywhere in the outfield. And I think in the talent that we had to give up, it was imperative from our standpoint that we got that young starting pitcher, 24 years old, who fits nicely with the staple that we have already, and then another versatile piece that is very young and also very controllable.
Todd Frazier jam. Tom Kohler looks terrific tonight. And in Hernandez, you get a 22-year-old versatile player. Now, when they signed him, they were in the National League. Once they went to the American League, is this a guy that holds more value for a National League club rather than an American League club like Houston?
Well, I think he filled a lot of roles with Houston, just because of his versatility, as they had injuries there, and that was a piece that they didn't really want to part with. But from our standpoint, and the players that we did include, we wanted to make sure that we got quality coming back on top of Cozart. And in Hernandez, we know we have a player who can play second, short, third, anywhere in the outfield, and that's extremely valuable in the National League.
Tom Kohler just getting outs, an 8-pitch inning. Michael, can you stick around another half inning?
Of course.
All right, back with Michael Hill. We'll talk about the day that was on the trading deadline. Braves baseball on Fox Sports Florida, brought to you by Palmetto 57 Nissan and Palmetto 57 Volkswagen, home of your money-back guarantee. By Bluebell Ice Cream, celebrate summer with Bluebell's newest flavor, Magic Cookie Bar. It's a home run. And by your South Florida Chevy dealers. Rich Waslam with Tommy Hutton. Mike Hill is with us. Tom Kohler is dealing tonight. The Marlins acquiring Jared Cozart and Kike Hernandez. And another young player, a Virginia Tech guy. Tommy and I were looking at his numbers. He's having quite a year in AAA right now.
Austin Waits, the center fielder who will report to AAA New Orleans for us. And I think as we look at the deal in its entirety in trading away an upper-level top defensive prospect like we did in Marisnik, we wanted to try to recoup a similar talent. And in Waits you get a speed, defensive, and a very offensive player as well, doing well at AAA, hitting in almost 330 stolen bases.
High on base percentage.
High on base percentage, and another piece to fit very well in our system.
Michael, people will ask this. They'll say, okay, a number 1 draft pick in Colin Moran, a guy who maybe in spring training it was said you're looking 2-3 years down the road he's going to be the everyday third baseman. How does that come about with his being part of that trade going to Houston?
Well, I think you see the cost of acquiring starting pitching, especially young, controllable, productive. I mean, Jared Cozart is a major league productive starting pitcher, so you got to give to get when you're talking about doing a deal. But Houston was looking for upper level offensive talent, and when you start the conversation about making a trade, you see where the fit is, and we did have a couple pieces for us that we felt like we could move that were very good prospects in Marisnik and Moran. And I think part of the Moran conversation of why you include him is the emergence of Casey McGee, and the fact that you have a productive third baseman who you do control and you hope that will be around for a while. And as you look at ways to upgrade your roster, you need that starting pitcher. You want that starting pitcher, and it was at the cost of Moran ultimately.
I know they didn't develop Twitter just for the trading deadline, but it sure makes it a lot of fun. Mike Winters behind home plate getting set. 2 weeks coming into today. I always amuses me to read reports that teams are talking about this player, teams are talking about that player, because it occurs to me that if a general manager calls you about a deal, he's going to kick the tires on a lot of your guys, right? He's going to ask about Stan. He's going to ask about some of your pitchers. Of your team, say the 25 guys on your roster, how many of those guys came up in a conversation, not that you were thinking about it, but someone said, hey, is he available, or is he available?
Well, I think once you got an idea of what that club was looking to do, then you had a feel for what players they were looking at. And even before the conversation started, we made sure that they were very clear that Stan was not on the table, that we weren't sellers per se, and that we weren't looking to take anything off of our club. So you tried to eliminate that right off the bat, that you were looking to add to what you had, and I think that sort of directed the direction you were going in your conversations.
What trade stunned you today? Because I expect you guys are either on Twitter or on the internet. You're watching just like the fans at home.
The job that Boston did. I mean, you're talking about the defending world champions, and there was a lot of movement there, which you don't see very often. But obviously they made some decisions and decided to go the direction that they did. That was the one that probably, as we're in our meetings and we're discussing things, they were extremely active. And you're talking about a defending world champion, and they did the things that they felt were necessary to sort of revamp their roster. Having a challenging season, and that was the one that probably caught us off.
You saw two names on there that are starting outfielders. You would think with Alan Craig and Yoenis Cespedes, and Joe Kelly, a starter to plug into the rotation.
Definitely big names going both ways, and I think that was probably the biggest surprise of how many big pieces went both ways.
How about David Price to the Tigers?
Yeah,
part of that rotation.
Definitely see some of those American League clubs ramping up, and those are teams going for the gusto.
We were saying Do you think that was a spinoff of Oakland making that deal?
I think they took notice. They definitely took notice of what was going on in their league, and you know, I think every GM around this time of year they're trying to find ways to help their club get over the hump and put themselves in a position to ultimately win a World Series.
Mike, are you done? I know the trading deadline is come and gone, but everybody around baseball knows that deals can be had in the month of August. Just a little tougher to get guys through waivers.
Yeah, and you know, you're never done. I can honestly say that Dan Jennings and I we're never done because you're always looking for that next opportunity to upgrade your roster.
Line drive in the corner off the bat of Ozuna. It bangs into the wall. HEISEY picks it up, and Ozuna pulls it at second base.
Hey, while we have Mike here, I want to ask him about Ozuna and HECHAVARRIA. Both of these guys, Ozuna's been a little streaky, but boy, he's put up some nice numbers, and we love the way HECHAVARRIA has stayed with his game plan all year, even when he's hit some balls hard for outs.
Yeah, no doubt about it, and I think we've talked about it so much as we entered the year that, you know, we wanted to add some proven offensive pieces, but you really felt like your offense was going to improve because you had some very talented young players who were going to make adjustments. And yes, they're still young and they still are going to make young mistakes, but I think their talent and their ability is definitely obvious, and you see that you're talking about championship caliber players in Ozuna and HECHAVARRIA and guys who fit nicely into to creating a deeper lineup for us.
A 1-0 ball game, and Ozuna at second, HECHAVARRIA up. Cracks it, right center field, hits it well in the gap, and a diving catch by HEISEY. Robs the Marlins of a run and ends the fourth.
There was that game plan and approach that we just talked about.
Well, great play to get him.
Congratulations on getting your starting pitcher and getting Kike Hernandez.
Thanks, Mike.
No, thank you, guys.
All right, Mike Hill of the Marlins, Chris HEISEY of the Reds. A nice catch in the gap. Four hits, one of those is Giancarlo Stanton homer. The Reds, no runs and just one hit against Tom Kohler. And so into the fifth we go. This copyrighted telecast is presented by the authority of the Marlins and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. The accounts and descriptions of the game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Marlins.
Rich, I love when our crack staff puts together statistics like this. You know, the other night, Henderson Alvarez had a 33-pitch second inning. Nathan Eovaldi the other night threw 31 pitches in the first inning. Tonight, through 4 innings, Tom Kohler's thrown 35 pitches.
Kohler opens up the fifth with a fastball to Brian Pena. Misses for ball 1. Pena's in the 5 spot. HEISEY, who made the great catch behind him, Jack Hanahan will hit third in the inning. There's a long list of trades that were made today. In the East, the Braves were active. They acquired James Russell, a pitcher, and Emilio Bonifacio from the Cubs for a minor leaguer. The Nationals, remember we talked about them looking for a second baseman or a third baseman. They actually got a shortstop, and I suspect they'll plug him in. And a really good one is Rubel Cabrera. Liner into right center. That's a base hit, and it gets by, and it goes all the way to the wall. Pena doesn't have great wheels, and he pulls in at second.
Yeah, it sounds like Asdrubal Cabrera will play second base for Matt Williams and the Nationals.
Nationals gave up Zach Walters in that trade. There's your National League East trade. So Bonifacio is back in the East.
Cabrera a switch hitter. Of course, Bonnie a switch hitter. We'll be running into those two guys a few times.
Well, the Reds have their first threat. Leadoff double by Pena. Here is HEISEY with Hanahan, and then you've got Zach Cozart to follow.
That's their hardest hit ball tonight, that double by Pena. 7-game hitting streak now for Brian Pena.
The Reds have really had trouble scoring runs. In their last 11 games, they have not scored more than 3 runs in any game.
When a club's having trouble, you know they're going to try to do the little things, moving runners over. Look at Jeff Mathis saying it hit him when he was out in the batter's box. I don't know if it did, but he's trying to alert the home plate umpire, Mike Winters.
Mike Winters said he was in the box. And we'll look at it. It may have hit him in the box and then hit him again.
You know, that's where Winters could also get some help from the first base umpire.
He's out. He's out of the box.
He's out of the box. See, this is where I think the home plate umpire could get a little help from that first base umpire, who has a pretty good angle.
Well, he was clearly out of the box when the ball came up. It's not a reviewable play. And here's another look at it. He's clearly out of the box. That he was darn near past home plate. But that's a difficult call for an umpire, and you hope, Tommy, that in year 2, as they massage the details of instant replay, they add a call like that. To me, that's the type of call that screams for replay. The ones that are really tough on umpires.
And it's also one that you're not going to have many times during the course of the year. It's a good angle here too. Yeah, he's on the left-handed side. He's in the left-hander's batter's box.
Here's a question though: was the ball fair?
Get there. Get there.
Jones makes the catch. From that angle, it's tough to tell if the ball's fair or not. If the ball's foul and it hits it,
doesn't count.
Doesn't count.
Doesn't matter.
I don't know that that's what Winters called, but for whatever reason, Winters pointed at the plate. This is a better look. And that, boy, I don't know.
That's a tough one.
Well, HEISEY does not advance Brian Pena. Hanahan is up right now. Bowler gets a strike. Hanahan called out on strikes in the 3rd. Only run of the ball game, a Giancarlo Stanton line drive homer to the left. First of 4. Of course, the Marlins just played a 4-game series in Atlanta. You win a 4-game series, and that's a way to make up some ground. More so, obviously, than winning a 3-game series. Marlins took 3 of 4 in Atlanta. Yelich over and there and makes the catch. Pena's still at second. Kohler's got a couple outs. Catch every strikeout, every game ender, every history-making moment on MLB Whip Around. Weeknights 10 Eastern on Fox Sports 1. Streaming live on Fox Sports Go.
Rich, I think when you have a series and you have an opportunity such as laid out in front of the Marlins here with the Reds not having Votto, not having Phillips, no Jay Bruce tonight, he should be back. You need to take advantage of that, because there are other times like when the Marlins host the Cardinals here, they may see John Lackey, they may see Masterson. It's going to be a little different look for the Cardinals.
Tonight's Cold Hard Facts brought to you by Frostbrewed Coors Light. Last 9 road games have also been losses for the Reds. It's the longest since 10 in a row in 1998. Was that a Bob Boone-led team or a Jack McKeon-led team?
We just saw Jack the other night. So the bottom line, what I'm trying to say is you need to take advantage of this series against the Reds. Now, the other side of that, the Reds are going to throw 4 really good starting pitchers at you. That's where they have their strength.
To right, Stanton is there. Tom Kohler pitches around the leadoff double. And Miami is hanging on to a 1-0 lead. This would be game 1. Tomorrow game 2. And tomorrow's tilt brought to you by Checkers. It's Matt Latos, the Coconut Creek Kid. Jacob Turner right now is slated to start. Though, as we mentioned, Jerry Cozart, his turn to throw was today. There's a possibility that Cozart is slotted right into the rotation and gets the start tomorrow night. That should be a lot of fun on a Friday. Latos, very good, a 3.31 ERA. Jeff Mathis, Tom Kohler, Christian Yelich against Johnny Cueto. on a hop to Frazier, who makes the play. Saturday night will be game 3 of the series. That's a Saturday spectacular. All you can eat seats are just $27. After the game, East Plaza for a party at the Clevelander. Live music, entertainment, and more. Marlins.com, the place to go for tickets.
And that Saturday is going to be Nathan Eovaldi and Homer Bailey.
Well, that's you run Cueto and Latos and Bailey,
and then Mike Leake in the finale.
And that's kind of how the Reds have actually stayed right around 500, is by dynamite pitching. They're just not scoring runs at all. The Reds 3.44 ERA as a team.
You know, the one guy that the Marlins will miss because he pitched yesterday, Alfredo Simon, maybe having, other than Cueto, maybe having the best year of all of them. Alfredo Simon on the year is 12-6 with a 2.84 ERA.
I think Alfredo Simon probably got his most airtime during the home run hitting contest. He was among a lively group of National League players on the National League side. Kohler backed off the plate. It's 1-2. Tom Kohler reaches up and lines one to right. HEISEY makes the catch. 2 outs. And here comes Yelich. You know, the Marlins in this game, on paper, it looks like Cueto has been stifling, aside from the ball that Stanton drilled out of here on a line back in the first. But the Marlins have had opportunities to get 2 other runs and have come oh so close both times. Casey McGee doubled after Stanton, and he was thrown out by Billy Hamilton on Garrett Jones' single to center. And remember, HECHAVARRIA's liner to right center with OZUNA at second. HEISEY made the diving catch. That was with 2 outs. That robbed HECHAVARRIA of a hit and certainly saved a run.
You know, we talked about Cueto and his earned run average over the last 4 years. There are only 3 major league pitchers over the last 4 years with a better earned run average. Clayton Kershaw, you're always going to throw him on that list. Jared Weaver, the Angels, and Cliff Lee, whose ERA is probably taking a little bit of a hit this year.
There was a lot of,
and it's still a Philly.
There were a lot of people that were hammering the Phils for not making a deal, but the guys that the Phils are going to trade, I think, are very movable after the deadline, because who's going to claim the contracts and block the moves, right? Am I missing something? I mean, if they all of a sudden want to deal a contract, a Cliff Lee, an Utley, something that's got substantial money on it, Rollins even, would there be teams lining up to block that move and claim those guys? Yelich strikes out. He's 0 for 3 against Cueto. Hanging on to the lead, we check in with Craig Minervini.
Hey, thank you very much, Rich. Dugout buddies are back Monday to Thursday nights here, and Coach David's got his Plantation Stars. Tell me about this experience for you guys, Coach.
It's a great experience. Parents are out here, the kids are out here to watch some of their famous baseball players.
Got a chance to take in batting practice? How was that?
That was an amazing experience. The kids came out, watched some of their favorite players take batting practice. It was exciting for the kids.
All right, let's ask you guys here. What'd you like best, you guys, about batting practice?
Hitting the ball.
No, them watching us, watching them.
Oh.
Today.
What?
What'd you like best about BP today?
Mom, I love you.
All right. That's nice to hear, but it's not Mother's Day, no.
I like it when I get to hit it really hard and hit home runs.
All right. They had a lot of fun here today. And again, 50 tickets. You purchase the 50. Your ball club with the coach get on the field for batting practice on Monday to Thursday games. All right. A lot of fun, right? Would you suggest it to other teams out there?
Great time. Come out to the Marlins Park. It's a good time.
How the Stars doing this year?
Stars are just starting out again for fall season. Had a great experience at Cooperstown, and we're looking forward to the new season.
Did you go to Cooperstown?
Yes, sir.
All right. Nice going, guys. All right. Back to you.
All right. Thank you, Craig. Tom Kohler, top of the Reds lineup with an out. Billy Hamilton, Christopher Negron. Breaking ball, a strike to Hamilton. The speedster has bounced to short and bounced to second. Infield corners in case he tries to bunt. Ball and a strike.
Yeah, you were talking about Hamilton in minor leagues a couple of years ago. 2012 in A-ball and Double-A combined. He set a professional record. 155 stolen bases. You say, well, he had a bad year. He was caught 37 times.
By the way, that 98 Reds team was managed by Jack McKeon.
We hate to bring that up to Jack.
They were much better in 99. They won 96 games. Down he goes. Tom Kohler pounding the strike zone.
Boy, he sure is. He's pounding it with the fastball, and then when he's used the slider or curveball, he's got some sharp bite to him, both of them.
Here is Negron, who was originally drafted by the Red Sox back in '06. Acquired by the Reds in exchange for shortstop Alex Gonzalez back in 2009. That would be the Marlins former shortstop Alex Gonzalez.
Well, he came up. He got called up when Phillips had to go on the disabled list.
He's out of Sacramento.
A lot of minor league time.
Always known as a very good defensive shortstop. Defensive swing there, fighting off the fastball. Watch the fan, wait for it. Nice. Negron has a base hit. Dribbles one into center. That will give Todd Frazier an at bat with a runner at first base. The Gecko arrives for this 4-game series near the top of the 6th. Our Geico quote of the night. On approaching the 2020 club, I was really fast when I was younger. As I got older, the weights kicked in. And a couple of root beers. Of course, when he was younger, he was a Little League World Series demon. Part of that championship team, Toms River, New Jersey in '98.
See, he wasn't worried about the Reds losing 9 games on the road in 1998.
No, he wasn't worried that that was Jack McKeon's first full year as the Reds skipper.
He had 4 home runs and hit 600. Little League World Series.
heard Todd Frazier saying he thought that was outside, and he's right. Mike Winters will surely look at that one on his DVD after the game.
Frazier's already surpassed. He hit 19 home runs last year. He hit 19 the year before. And he's at 20 right now.
Another strike. There's your 2010 club. Frazier with 4 more stolen bases, first to get to 2020.
The Reds have had 2 third basemen in that 2020 club. Aaron Boone and Chris Sabo.
Chris Sabo. Well, that other strike was out as well.
Tom Kohler went right back there again. He figured, well, maybe I'll get a third call. Not that time. Just a little further away.
Counts 2-2. And Frazier has not swung the bat in all 4 pitches out of the zone. McGee crossed the diamond in time. And Tom Kohler is through 6, shutting out the Reds in Miami tonight. Bottom 6, Marlins Park. And on Sunday, it's a Kid Sunday. Bring them on in. Pepsi 4 for 54 pack. Now, there's a lot going on. Let's start with a headline. It's Christian Yelich bobblehead day. All right, 12,000 fans get the Christian Yelich bobblehead. Second headline: Bark at the Park. Bring your dogs for Bark in the Park. It's presented by the Humane Society of Broward County. And kids run the bases after the game in the Diamond Dash. Marlins.com for tickets. So that's all going on Sunday. And a 4 for 54 pack is a great way to get your family in. Pop up. That's Cozart at short. And Valdespin is out number 1. Here comes Giancarlo Stanton. Stanton homer back in the first. And for the Marlins, it's their only run. They've had a runner thrown out at the plate. And they had a diving catch in the outfield take away a run as well.
Yeah, it's really amazing. After that fastball, the home run, number 25 on the year for Giancarlo, Marlins put together another couple of base hits. But since that first inning, just the double by OZUNA. That was in the 4th.
After Stanton hit the homer, CUETO kind of walked around the mound shaking his head. I don't know if it was in disbelief or just disgust, whether he was upset with himself or amazed, maybe a little of both.
I would guess a little bit of both. He's given up 13 home runs this year, but again, remember, half his games at Great American Ballpark. But in Cincinnati, his record is tremendous.
That one will reach the seats.
Pitching in Cincinnati, Great American Ballpark, 12 starts this year for CUETO. He's 8-3, and his ERA at home is 1.77.
Cueto's not happy with himself right now. Count full 3-2. McGee on deck. Stanton. A homer to right yesterday, a homer to left tonight. He swings and misses. 2 outs here in the 6th.
Well, he climbed the ladder with his fastball. He's got a good live fastball. He went up with it and got it by Giancarlo.
McGee's double was in the right field corner. He was thrown out on the Jones single to center. A very nice play by Billy Hamilton.
You and I, Rich, were talking about their strength in starting pitching for the Reds. Also the back end of their bullpen. Jonathan Broxton, Aroldis Chapman. That's another strength that they have.
McGee's roller up the middle, Cozart to first, and Cueto goes 1-2-3 in the 6th. Giancarlo Stanton home run. Still holding up. AT&T Uverse. Rewind. That's a tough way to get it out, Tom Kohler, but it works. And that was a big play. Tommy Hunt in Houston.
Yeah, for Tom Kohler, he said, you know, I think grazed off his back, and all of a sudden he turned around and there was HECHAVARRIA making the catch. So good job. I mean, 5 innings, but he worked around giving up the 9 hits and had to make some pitches, so picked up the win.
Ryan Ludwig breaking ball for a strike. Ludwig, Brian Pena, Chris HEISEY. Just 3 hits for the Reds. One of those an infield single by the pitcher Johnny Cueto. Brian Pena had a double. Christopher Negron single back in the 6th. So the Reds really haven't mounted much of a threat. The double by Pena was a leadoff double in the 5th. Kohler would get 3 outs to get out of the inning.
Tom Kohler to this point has faced 21 batters. He's thrown 4 pitches or less to 17.
Wow. Terrific breaking ball. Ludwig chased it. And Kohler has an out here in the 7th.
When you're a pitcher, this has to really feel good when you have command of everything. Your fastball is there, so it's able to set up that slider just off the plate to get a powerful right-handed hitter to chase it.
Now here's Pena. It sounds like Jay Bruce will be back tomorrow off the bereavement list. Devin Mesoraco, also an all-star this year, not in the lineup tonight. So the Reds lineup should undergo a few changes by tomorrow night.
Yeah, if Mesoraco's behind the plate, they could either have Pena out at first or play Hanahan out there again.
And it may be a Jared Cozart start for the Marlins. That one didn't hit Kohler in the back. It ends up in center. The 2 biggest bats that the Reds are missing are 2 guys that have driven the big red machine, so to speak, offensively over the last 4 or 5 years, and that's Joey Votto and Brandon Phillips.
And you can see for Votto, certainly the numbers that he had put up this year, not Votto-like numbers. For the guy who's been an MVP, and he's out for a while. So is Brandon Phillips. Not only did they miss his offense, but defense, Gold Glove defense at second base.
Well, Phillips last year drove in 103. Votto last year led all of baseball in on-base percentage. So that's 2 pretty big pieces to come out. Pena the runner at first. Kohler a mere 73 pitches. Into the bat, Ozuna charging in. Makes the catch.
Yeah, you heard a lot of people, and probably Jeff Mathis was the first, even though I doubt Ozuna can hear him, but he's yelling in right away because he knew right away that the ball was hit off the end of the bat, and it wasn't hit well.
Every time you hear Jeff Mathis, you can envision him as a quarterback. And what if he had gone to Florida State? He hasn't called Omaha yet.
That's for Peyton Manning.
Mathis recruited by Florida State, but instead chose baseball.
He's for a guy who is not an everyday player. Jeff Mathis, a tremendous leader in that clubhouse. The other players, his teammates, really respect him.
And if you go in that clubhouse, you'll see Mathis either around Jared Saltalamacchia or you'll see him around pitchers. Liner to left. Yelich is there. Tom Kohler pounding the strike zone all night long. 1-0 Miami. Tom Kohler side by side. Terrific night for pitchers in this one. Palmetto 57 Nissan leaderboard on base percentage leading off an inning. Miami's had a nice year. Christian Yelich certainly has added to that total. But the Marlins across the board have had drastic improvement from last year. Remember, last year they were last in average, last in runs, last in homers, last in on base, last in slugging, and last in the East.
And by the way, speaking of the East, we were talking about Cliff Lee, who had to leave that game. Philadelphia in Washington, and the Phillies have a 5-1 lead against the Nationals in the 5th inning.
Garrett Jones for Miami. Johnny Cueto, aside from the Giancarlo Stanton homer, has been around the plate and effective as well, much like Tom Kohler.
Every once in a while, too, you have to be careful. He'll quick pitch you. He did that actually a couple of times when we had Michael Hill with us in the booth. So we really didn't talk about it too much, but so you have to be ready when you step into the box.
He has struck out 6 and walked just 1. It's a foul tip. Kohler hasn't walked anybody and has struck out 3.
You mentioned earlier the struggles of the Reds, 2-10 since the All-Star break. Now, on the other hand, the Marlins since the break 9-4.
And both pitchers have very manageable pitch counts. So in the bottom of the 7th, you've got Cueto at 81 pitches, Kohler at 77. Now Cueto is due up second in the top of the 8th.
Cueto's actually had a couple of good swings off Tom Kohler.
He had a base hit in the 3rd.
And he hit a ball pretty well to left field next time up.
You know, Garrett Jones, having taken 2 steps to the dugout before they checked, had to know that he wasn't going to get the favorable side of that decision.
No, he's not helping his cause by doing that. And you can't, I mean, you can't do anything about that because you in your mind, you have a feeling, well, yeah.
You know, that wasn't that cut and dried, though.
No, it wasn't. After he took the 1 step, he tried to camouflage it and step the other way.
The thing about Cueto, his changeup's so good, he'll throw it to right-handed hitters. OZUNA banged one down the right field line. He's walked and doubled. That's down the line and in the corner. HEISEY approaches and runs out of room. And a souvenir.
Yeah, a couple of years ago, Johnny Cueto, a 19-game winner, 2012.
To OZUNA.
There was that little quick pitch.
From a windup.
Yeah. For a windup, he slide steps. And all of a sudden, he's right at you. You think he's going to go into the full windup. And no, here he comes. No leg kick. Right to the plate.
3-2. You wonder how many times he throws the changeup out of the quick pitch delivery. Sometimes pitchers, when they do quick pitch, they'll change speeds on you because all of a sudden you're rushed and you think fastball.
So you think, yeah, your brain says fastball.
He humps it up to 91 and picks up strikeout number 8. All right, let's see what the Blue Ribbon panel has decided on the fan photo. Hashtag it fan photo. Tweet it. It's our AT&T fan photo. You go from the Cleveland, New Jerseys to the little Sea Sheks.
The little Shreks.
Hechavarria takes a strike. Hechavarria bounced into a fielder's choice on a ball up the middle, then hit that drive in the gap deep right center that was caught on a dive by HEISEY. And that prevented Miami's second run back in the 4th. You're just strolling through games and you've landed here. You've landed in a pitcher's duel. Johnny Cueto, Tom Kohler. Giancarlo Stanton first inning homer is his 25th of the season. A liner to left, and it ties him with Anthony Rizzo of the Cubs. Although you should always check to see if Rizzo hit one today. He did not. So they both sit at 25 now. Keep looking to see now in all the Cub box scores if John Baker is going to come out of the bullpen again. 1-2 in the dirt, dug out. Hechavarria strikes out. Johnny Cueto finishing strong. He strikes out the side. Game summary.
All right, watch closely. Right there, that's the offense. Home run number 25 on the year for Giancarlo. Hit it in the first inning. His 8th first inning home run of the year. Then it's been all pitching. Cueto has been absolutely tremendous. He struck out 9 in his 7 innings of work. But you know what? Tom Kohler doesn't have the high strikeout count. He's got 3, but he hasn't walked anybody. His pitch count has been minimal. And TK, the big salad, has been absolutely tremendous.
As the 8th inning arrives, you know, it looks like they left camera 12 on after the auction cut, much to our happiness. One nothing Fish, and Kohler is out for the 8th. It's the bottom of the order, 8, 9, and then 1. Zach like Cozart.
Yeah, it looks like Mesoraco has jumped into the on-deck circle.
That's Cueto's spot, and then you got Billy Hamilton. Kohler First pitch strike, and it's fouled back and out of play. Cozart is bounced out and flied out. There's a pretty good number of baseball players on commercial airlines right now, flying to their new cities. Soft pop, shallow center, and Valdespin can't hold it. Just out of his glove. Going away from the infield, got the glove up. And so Cozart is aboard with a bloop single.
Off the end of the bat, I don't think OZUNA was going to get there. Valdespin did, but the ball got off his glove. Wow, they've given Valdespin an error.
Really?
Yeah, that's what I said.
Well, there's the all-star season that Mesoraco has had. 18 homers, driven in 52, good receiver. His first all-star team. Breaking ball misses in.
I think it's taken a while for Devin Mesoraco. He was first-round pick of the Reds in 07. But he's had to work his way up, and all of a sudden, this year, for Mesoraco, things have fallen into place.
Kohler falls behind 2-0. Mesoraco sitting on 18 homers. The last Reds catcher with more than 19 homers in a season since Eddie Taubensee did it back in '99.
Eddie Taubensee.
So Eddie Taubensee was behind the plate for Jack McKeon's first full year.
You know, by the way, I heard next weekend when the Marlins are in Cincinnati, it's a big all-star weekend for former Reds. So it's going to be a fun weekend of some Red stars in town.
Into left. Mesoraco with a hit, and now the Reds, with runners first and second, have Hamilton coming up. And remember, we talked about this the other day. In a bunt situation, when you have a guy with speed and he's sacrificing, and you would expect that Hamilton might be doing that, you have to be really careful. Remember the bang bang play at first that was reviewed that did not go Miami's way. That was Denard Span that bunt single in the 8th inning.
All those things you brought up, I think that's why Mike Redmond's going to the mound to discuss that, not only with his pitcher and catcher, but with his entire infield who's out there.
Well, he wants the lefty.
Surprise, shocking surprise. Well, I thought he was going out there to talk about that situation.
exits. And Mike Dunn comes in. In a 1-0 game, the Reds have first and second with nobody out. And speedy Billy Hamilton coming up.
A couple of things to think about in the decision of Mike Redmond. You've got Hamilton, who's a switch hitter. You talked about how he's tough to double up anyway, but it puts him over on the right side. His average pretty much the same, lefty-righty. They're not too much of a difference.
Yeah, there's all kinds of things going on here because Hamilton's not a guy that gets doubled up much. So,
and then you have a guy on deck, Negron, who, if you bunt the runners over for a 9-year minor league career guy, that's surprising too. So we'll see how Brian Price plays this.
Well, he squares. Dunn to the plate. Hamilton bunts it right back to Dunn. Bobbles it, kicks it. Everybody's safe. What did we talk about?
Well, we talked about bringing in a pitcher, but if you bring somebody in, you got to make a play. And now all of a sudden the base is loaded, nobody out.
When you have a bunter with speed in a sacrifice spot, it ratchets up the pressure.
I think his first thought was third base because he got to that, and then he got all fumbled up and couldn't field the ball because he realized the speed of Hamilton. He was thinking third base right there. So it's a sacrifice and an error to the pitcher.
And Mike Dunn throws a pitch. It comes out. Bags are loaded now, and there's nobody out in a 1-0 game. Zach Cozart's pop that bounced off the glove of Valdespin in shallow center. It was generously ruled as an E4. Should have been a base hit. Devin Mesoraco pinch hit. Lined one into left for a hit. Mike Redmond went to the bullpen to bring Mike Dunn in, facing Billy Hamilton. Sacrifice E1 on Hamilton. He's at first. Cozart and Mesoraco are still out there. And so Christopher Negron in a big spot for the Reds, and so is Brian Morris for the Marlins, with the infield up the middle, back for two.
And as we were talking between innings, you get to the point of the game now too where you have the strength of the Reds bullpen getting ready to come into this game.
Corners are pinched. Certainly the Reds have seen Morris before, pitching out of the Pirates bullpen in that National League Central. That's part of the back end of the Reds pen.
Boy, between Jumbo Diaz, Broxton, and Aroldis Chapman.
0-1. Tom Kohler can only watch. Remember, the Marlins came close to getting additional runs, additional to the Stanton homer. McGee was thrown out to end the first. HEISEY made the diving catch to rob HECHAVARRIA of what would have been an RBI extra base hit. One and two. 97 on the fastball.
I tell you what, Brian Morris has come in firing. And we've seen that nasty slider that he has, and look at that running fastball at 97 in under the hands of McGrone. He's thinking strikeout right here.
McGrone 1 for 3. Got him. There's one out. And now the Reds' best weapon in their lineup tonight, Todd Frazier.
Yeah, they got a tough one coming up, but boy, Brian Morris made some great pitches. That was a situation where, you know, you don't always think strikeout, but I guarantee there he was thinking strikeout, and he got it.
So here is Frazier. Of course, the Reds are without Votto, without Phillips. Jay Bruce is back tomorrow, coming off the bereavement list. Mesoraco didn't start, but he came in as a pinch hitter this inning and singled. And a foul ball. It's 0-1. Cozart reached on that ball into shallow center. Mesoraco the pinch hit. Hamilton's bunt was fumbled by Dunn.
Not much Tom Kohler can do right now,
but hope for a ground ball
or another strikeout.
In with a fastball, 96 miles an hour. Frazier, an all-star and elected by the players at third base. Leads National League third baseman in homers, slugging, stolen bases, extra base hits. Here's a 1-1. Morris gets ahead. It's 1-2.
A couple of good fastballs. See if he goes with that slider to try to get him to chase for the strikeout.
Frazier on the year has punched out 96 times. He has bounced into just 6 double plays. One-two coming. Soft fly ball. Stanton lines it up. Runner tags and comes home. Stanton's throw to the plate. In time! He is out at the plate! Out of hop! Mathis with the tag. Brian Price, Reds manager, is out. Mike Winters, the home plate umpire.
First of all, why did he slide? He came in purposely trying to say he was blocking the lane. This is a whole different game. He didn't even slide. He should be out anyway. He didn't even slide. He's trying to get a call as opposed to playing the game the way it should be.
This is not a challenge. It is an interpretation of the rule that was put into place. Here's a look at it.
Everything done perfectly. Stanton times it. One hop throw on the money. He doesn't have a chance. Mathis has the ball. He can do whatever he wants. And he didn't even slide. If they change this, I'm sorry.
If they change this,
if they change this, they better change the rules of the entire game. You can't do it anymore perfectly.
The catcher is allowed.
He's got the ball. He gets over to put the tag on it. He should have slid anyway.
New York is looking at it. In the interpretations that we've seen and have been told, catchers can go get the ball wherever it might be. His foot's on the plate. The ball.
Okay, he has to go get the ball. He catches it. Once he catches it,
with that much space between ball and runner,
there's a lot of space. If it's bang, bang, it's different. But he has to move over that way to catch the throw. The throw is a little bit on the third base side of the bag. If he doesn't move, he doesn't catch the ball.
Boy, this is an enormous call in a 1-0 game.
There's more contact in a high school game than they showed right there.
Some anxious moments for everybody here at Marlins Park. For the Reds, it would mean a tie game. For the Marlins, it would preserve a 1-0 lead. The Reds had the bags loaded with nobody out. Zach Cozart coming in from third, out by a good margin. The umpires in New York trying to decide if Mathis was illegally blocking the plate, but the ball arrived well in front of Cozart. In the judgment of the umpire, the catcher without possession of the ball blocks the pathway of the runner.
There's the key. Without possession of the ball, Jeff Mathis had possession of the ball.
This is a long review.
Too long for me. This should be cut and dried. Okay, he has to go that way to catch it. He has possession. And Cozart trying to play the challenge game, saying, hey, I didn't have a play. If he slides, you just slide. He's probably still out, but slide, because that's the way the game's supposed to be played.
I would expect there's a lot of discussion going on in New York between a variety of umpires, not just one guy watching it, but a group of umpires.
Next year, we'll just let him score. Just let the catcher catch it 3 feet in front of the plate. Let the runner score. Be like T-ball pretty soon.
Mike Winters chatting with Mark Wegner. And the umpires are just like us, the umpires here, awaiting a decision in New York. Well, Winters, the home plate umpire, certainly didn't think he was blocking. He was adamant about the out call. Obviously, he watched it in real time. The umpires in New York have had, by now, 3 minutes or so to look at all the views, all the angles, which leads me to believe, Tommy, there's a discussion going on in New York.
He had possession of the ball. If he has possession of the ball, he doesn't have to give him a lane. He can go in and tag him. And the runner can do anything he wants.
Mathis looked down, looked at his feet, ball's up the line.
Now he has to go, he has to move that way to get the throw. That's why he moved that way. So next time, just let the ball go through and let 2 runs score.
One thing Joe Torre told us in Los Angeles is if the ball takes the catcher into the pathway of the runner, he's allowed to go get the ball.
If this call is changed, it's going to change a whole lot in baseball. Let me just say this. And I'll say this, over on Reds TV, they're probably saying, hey, he didn't have a lane, he should score. But that's not right. And if this call's changed, it's going to change a whole lot in this game of baseball as we know it.
There's such a gray area around this rule that I really have no feel as to what
I don't think they do either because it's taken so long.
Here's the call. He's safe.
Game's going to change from this day on. And mark down the date, July 31st, 2014.
Mike Redmond right now rips his shirt off, throws his hat.
I feel like doing the same thing.
A Major League catcher himself, Redmond.
Get your money's worth, Red. Get your money's worth.
It's an enormous call. It's a tie game. Redmond has been ejected.
I don't care what I read, what they say afterward. That's not the right call. It's a bad call.
It took them 6 minutes
to make a bad call.
Now the umpires on the field obviously drew the ire of Redmond. What he'd like to do is pick up the phone, I'm sure, and call New York and go at it with those guys.
Give me that number.
Because Mike Winters, the home plate umpire, found nothing wrong with the tag initially, but it was reviewed in New York. Brian Morris.
That's when you'd like to know who's in the command center in New York. What umpire crew is there?
This is synced up, so the time on both of these is identical.
He has to move to his left. He set up the proper way. He had to catch the ball. If he doesn't do that, the ball goes by him, and they score 2 runs.
I'm not sure what they want him to do there. Do they want?
I don't know. That's what the problem is. What is Jeff Mathis supposed to do?
Does he go into the diamond to catch the ball and then try to get back to the runner? Now, Brian Morris has to compose himself and get Ryan Ludwig out and not let this get away from him. Frazier is credited with a sacrifice fly. Cozart scores, and Ludwig facing Morris. And you've got speed at first in Hamilton. Morris throws a strike. Ludwig, the veteran.
Yeah, think of all the time, 6 minutes plus, that Morris was hanging around.
Runner goes. It's taken inside, and Hamilton steals it. For Hamilton, stolen base number 42. So now a hit for the Reds could open up a 2-run lead. Here's a 1-1. Ludwig into center field, and it falls for a hit. And Hamilton will score easily. And so that call, a pivotal call now. Cincinnati puts 3 on the board.
Absolutely terrible. You may find some new age broadcaster, some young guy who agrees with all this stuff, but this old school guy said that is wrong. Baseball games should not be played that way.
I'm with you. I just want to know what they want Jeff Mathis to do. Ludwig at first. To right, Stanton is there. Well, the Marlins have been a team that have come back in the late innings time in and time out. They're going to have to do it tonight. They're down 3-1, much to the ire of the folks at Marlins Park. used as a definitive look, and it's the high home look. And this is the high home look. And so if this is definitive, Mathis with the ball up the line has moved to get it. This is low home. Stanton made a terrific throw. Ball's in the air. Mathis moves to get it.
He has to move to the ball. He's set. He even looked at his feet. He wanted to make sure he was in the right place. Okay, if he doesn't move, the ball skips by and 2-run score.
Mathis takes a strike. Brian Morris.
You read his lips, he said, "I agree with you." Though Mike Winters knew. He's been around.
Well, as we've talked about, the back end of the Reds bullpen is really good. And so now the Marlins not only see the Reds put 3 runs up in a swirl of controversy in the top of the inning, but they've got to go up against Broxton and Chapman. And it's Broxton who's first out. A lot of changes defensively for the Reds. Broxton misses away. The versatile Skip Schumacher makes an appearance, and he's in left field. Brian Pena goes from behind home plate over to first. And all-star Devin Mesoraco is behind home plate. Broxton misses away. It's 2-2 to Mathis. We got Reed Johnson on deck, on top of the order in YELICH. And this puts Johnny Cueto in line for his 12th win. Mathis battling. Needless to say, Marlins Live will be just that, with the post-game comments from Mike Redmond and the Marlins clubhouse. But the Reds have got to get 6 outs first. Remember, the Marlins are one of baseball's best in the late innings. Three and 2. Broxton hasn't given up a run in his last 6 appearances. And Mathis pops it up as Mesoraco. And an out here in the 8th. Donovan Solano replaces Johnson. Johnson was not announced, so he's still available. And Solano gets the at-bat. Broxton about as big as they come. Although Jumbo Diaz weighs in at 316, 6'4", 316.
He's not quite as big as Jumbo.
Broxton is just a biscuit lighter at 295. Maybe a couple. 6'4" is Broxton.
They make sure on their charter flights that they're on opposite sides of the airplane.
Longtime Dodger was Broxton from 05 to 2011. Closed a bit with Chapman on the disabled list to start the season. Wanted to. Yelich waits. And he got him. Broxton strikes out Solano. 2 outs here in the 8th. MLB.com at bat for your iPhone, iPad, Android, BlackBerry 10, or Windows Phone 8. Get your scores, stats, highlights, live audio, and more. 31826. Or go to Marlins.com for details. Reds a 3-1 lead. The win right now taken out of Miami sails.
I'd like to see a call like that made against the Yankees at Yankee Stadium or the Red Sox at Fenway Park. Jeff Mathis beside himself. He doesn't know what he should do because he did it all right.
And I guess that's the biggest question. There's probably,
I'd like that explained to me.
There's probably 29 other catchers around baseball.
Yeah, I would like somebody who's created this problem to tell me what they expect a catcher to do in that situation. When the ball takes him to his left, he clearly looked at his feet to make sure he was positioned right, then had to move about a foot to get the throw.
Into center field, a base hit. Yelich with a 2-out single.
And if somebody can explain that to me, I'm still not going to accept this, but I'd like to hear that. I'd like to hear that.
Well, you hope.
I can't wait for our meeting next year at that beautiful facility in Los Angeles with all the Fox people. Can't wait for that.
Now it's time for our Just for Men.
Bring in Joe Torre. Bring him out.
Just Jordany Valdespin profile. There you go.
And I know Joe's a Hall of Famer now.
You know what? I think that Just for Men people would like you to be fired up every night when they do their profile. Well, I think there will be a lot of catchers and a lot of managers across baseball who watch this replay that are interested in a clarification from New York as to what they saw and what they ruled on.
Well, like I said, that play, that call is going to change the way we all look at this game from this point on, if that call is going to be consistent.
Valdespin right now.
I want to see some catcher in a game did not move. Just let the ball slide by. Let it go by. Let 2 runs score. Then he's doing the right thing, I guess. Little leaguers block the plate, for crying out loud. They go after the ball.
Broxton falling behind Valdespin, and the last thing the Reds want is Stanton at the plate with 2 on in a 3-1 game.
got a feeling that Valdespin is going to do everything he can to try to reach base, to allow Stanton to hit in this inning.
As we've seen, though, Valdespin, when he gets a hold of one, can hit it out. He has a pair of home runs since joining the ball club. Two-0. It's out, and it's 3-0. He lost them, and here comes Stanton. Well, the Marlins have their big bat up with runners first and second. Jeff Pico, the pitching coach of the Reds, is on his way to the mound. Of course, Brian Price, such a fine pitching coach for many, many years in the big leagues. In his first year as a manager. Pico talking with Broxton. Chapman is up.
He's just getting up.
So here's Stanton. You've got terrific speed at second, good speed at first, and the Reds outfield is playing about as deep as you can in this park. Stanton is homered, bounced out, and struck out. Fastball is up. Now that was a strike. Miami gets a break. McGee on deck. Stanton had his rip, 94-mile-an-hour fastball. A ball and a strike. With 2 outs, Valdespin is running on contact. So even though the outfield is playing as deep as they can, Stanton has the power to drive it by him. Valdespin could score. He's in home run mode right now.
Yeah, it's heat against heat.
One and two. Just got a piece. And it stays at 1 and 2. Jonathan Broxton in relief from Johnny Cueto. Both starters good in this one. Cueto 7 innings, a run. Tom Kohler 7 innings, 2 unearned runs. Mike Dunn also charged with an unearned run. Valdespin the tying run at first. There's 2 outs, and Broxton's throwing hard. Long sequence from Mesoraco. Fights off a fastball.
He's going right after him so far with 3 fastballs in a row.
Stanton waits. Broxton ready. Another 1-2. Got him. Struck him out. Breaking ball. And Miami leaves a pair in the 8th. To the 9th. Cincinnati up 3-1. And Dyson will try to keep it at 3-1 in the 9th. And Miami certainly will have to face the heat of Aroldis Chapman if this game stays 3-1 or even 4-1 for that matter. Dyson right-hander out of South Carolina. Brian Price, Reds skipper, trying to keep the Reds together without a lot of offense. The Reds have gone 11 games without scoring more than 3 runs, and they've only got 3 here. But with the effort tonight by Johnny Cueto
and the control room in New York,
it's 3-1. Rob Leary is running the Marlins right now. Mike Redmond ejected. It's an automatic ejection anytime you come to argue a replay review or that ruling there. That one fouled back by Chris HEISEY. So Red knew he was going to get run, but he obviously wanted to make a statement. Threw his hat, nearly tore his uniform top off. You know, the one thing that went through my mind when Redmond came out to argue was, would he walk right past Mike Winters and make a beeline for the headsets and grab a headset?
Yeah, that's what you'd love to see.
And start to argue.
Have somebody in New York toss him.
Because, you know, Mike Winters call on the field, and you could see from his body language he was adamant about it. He did not think it was blocking the plate. See, Winters was on it, had a good look at it. Jones is there. And in that case, obviously, the umpires are the only thing that Mike Redmond can argue to or get upset at, and they're not the ones that rendered the decision.
Yeah, the sad part is that everything was done just right. Stanton caught the ball, had his momentum coming toward the plate, and made a perfect throw.
Skip Schumacher, his first at bat of the ball game. And a bouncer up the middle. Valdespin has it. Schumacher is out number 2. So if you're Mike Redmond and this just went against you, you got to rage and vent to somebody.
Well, you know what, Rich? I almost ripped my shirt off up here, too. What can you say when the umpire who made the call says, I agree with you?
Well, he wouldn't have called him out if he didn't.
Yeah.
I mean, that's pretty plain. We didn't need to read his lips or anything. I mean, if he had thought it was blocking the plate, he would have called him.
That's the other part that's frustrating. Is that people who aren't even here are overturning that.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, in the process of that 6 minutes, there's so much gray area, and there has been so much on that one rule and call, and it almost feels like Major League Baseball is still feeling their way through this, and it's unfortunate, obviously. Remember, there are 2 crews of umpires in New York, and probably at this shift there's 4 umpires, at least 4 in the room. And on a 6-minute review, you would expect all 4 of them took a look and wagered in. Mesoraco still in the 9 spot. Aroldis Chapman, the Cuban missile, is waiting. Miami has McGee, Jones scheduled, and OZUNA. Little tapper, McGee will cut it off and throw on the run. Miami has their work cut out. Aroldis Chapman and his 100 plus with the fish down 2 going to the bottom of the 9th. Marlins baseball on Fox Sports Florida, brought to you by your South Florida Honda dealers and sfhondadealers.com. And by Florida Power and Lights. In Miami tonight, an overturned call at the plate on the collision rule, in which it took 6 minutes to review and overturn, turned this game. And the Reds got 3 runs in the inning. And now Aroldis Chapman out of the pen. The heat-seeking missile of a fastball, the highest velocity in the game. Chapman comes in, and the Marlins in the middle of their lineup. McGee, Jeff Baker, I believe, will take Jones at bat, and then Marcell Ozuna.
Well, you saw the numbers for Chapman. Opponents batting 135. He had a game the other night against the Arizona Diamondbacks. He threw 5 pitches 103 miles an hour, and he threw 1 pitch at 104. Yeah, he'll mix in a slider once in a while.
Toyota trend against lefties. Marlins 3rd in the National League. Of course, I don't think the Toyota trend takes into account velocity. Chapman resides in nearby Davie in the offseason. So McGee up, Chapman in, fastball buzzes up and out. And it's 1-0, 100 miles an hour. McGee joking around with Mesoraco, facing the heat. That one zips away, and it's 2-0. "67 strikeouts, just 11 walks." Chapman dials in the strike zone, still hitting triple digits. Well, McGee has seen 4 pitches, all at 100. 2 out and 2 in. Well, you got to be short and quick to the ball, don't you?
Yeah, you have to just think, shorten everything up.
Chapman overthrew that one at 102, and it went way out. So McGee hasn't lifted the bat off his shoulder yet.
And you know you're going to get fastball. It's going to be triple digits.
It's out, and it's up, and he's on. And here is Baker. So Baker takes the Garrett Jones at bat.
Now you're talking about coming off the bench in a pitch hitting role and facing a guy throwing 100.
It takes a little more than hitting off the tee or some soft toss to get ready for this. Baker's had some big pinch hits this year, and he fouls a pitch back. It's 0-1.
Yeah, big month of July for the veteran. Jeff Baker 9 for 26 as a pinch hitter.
Of course, the end of the game against Jerry Blevins, but this is not Jerry Blevins. That was in the National Series.
There's a slider.
That's a show me slider, Tommy. Baker hits a sharp ground ball to short. Cozart flip, and the turn by Negron gets the out. Negron got clipped at second base on the slide by McGee.
Better be careful. Might not be able to do that anymore.
And so OZUNA with 2 outs. Here's a look at the play at second. Chapman ready, and OZUNA climbs in. 1 for 2, a double. HECHAVARRIA next. Then Mathis scheduled. Well, it should be a lively group on Marlins Live, presented by Checkers. Certainly Mike Redmond's post-game news conference will be fascinating. The comments of Jeff Mathis as well. Chapman with the count 2-1. Three and one. OZUNA takes a rip and fouls it off. So a full count. That one pounded in on OZUNA's hands at 102 miles an hour. And it's an easy 102, isn't it? I mean, it's not grunting and flailing. And
yeah, he's got that real fluid, lanky, long arms. Just yeah, it's just rips in there in a hurry, but easy.
He's not feeling well, or he's injured. It's a full count with 2 outs, and Chapman is holding his right hamstring.
Holding that hamstring.
He's trying to stretch and keep it loose. Certainly, if you're the Reds, that's a big concern. Chapman took that frightening shot and put him on the disabled list. The ball off his face.
See if it happened on the last pitch or if it's been ongoing. Hey, kind of a little hitch there.
Well, Broxton has already pitched. Chapman is a strike away from saving the ball game. If you're Brian Price, you'd love to see him finish, but at the same time, you don't want him to try to hump it up to 100.
One more pitch could make it even worse.
And wisely, he's going to test it. It looks like he's going to convince them to stay in the ball game. And so OZUNA's at bat will resume. Full count, 2 outs. The 3-2. Got him. Fastball struck him out. Chapman finishes. The Reds win it in a game that will be discussed certainly on every network and on this one on Marlins Live. The play at the plate changed the game, certainly. The Marlins thought they had the final out and kept a 1-0 lead. He was called out on review. Jeff Mathis, after a 6-minute review, was found to be illegally blocking the plate. And the Reds win it. Cincinnati, a 3-1 win.